Hello everyone, you're watching Man to Man. I'm your host, Hugo Batika. Continuation of our conversation from our previous episode, where we were in conversation with Godden, an individual who was on death row for 10 years, subsequently commuted to life imprisonment, and then released on a presidential amnesty.
The first thing they ask him, motor, Taiwan, the only motor. And this is exactly what I took track. And this is yes, why one opposition the Kapianan, na second, that's guide. And the second, Komurungu. It's like, Komurungu. You know, there's no nothing about Komurungu. And then he says, no, I know nothing. I just the car and the Kapiana second. Saga says, oh, second, what Harukupi? Ah, no, Arqua Tama, Majimba. And he had gone there, you see. And I know he had a wife, and I know I'm not quite sure it was his wife, was married, but then it was a girlfriend or something like that. And he had gone to see her. Saga, they say, Pinamoto drugs are much more, they go there. This is now the following day. I think this should be Thursday. It happened on a Thursday the following week. And then when they arrive there, Thursday morning, when they are arriving at Kutama, in a coincidence, the moment they are arriving to turn to go to the village where he'd gone, he was on the bus stop waiting to catch a lift to come to Harare. And then immediately Farai recognizes him. He says, this guy down to Uyarapa. Then they said, okay. They go turn the car. Then they phone the other car goes and picks guy like they give him a lift. When he gets in, they move and then they pull out the guns and say, Wasungu. Tudze. At first, my funny Farai tena moto. And they're like, all right, Tudze, Murungu Harukupi. Murungu? Harukupi, Tudze, Tuda Murungu. Murungu Harukupi. It's like, no, I know nothing of the Murungu. Go motor. No, the happy one. I say, Godden. You couldn't have motor. What? Oh, all right. They drive over to Harare Central. You see, all this is happening. I'm unaware of this.
Yeah.
I'm at Chisipiti. I'm busy doing. I'm just,
So you're carrying on as...
I'm just carrying on, the more... I'm just carrying on. But this time, in my life, if I've smoked and did anything, you smoke cigarette after cigarette. You see? I think even the time that he sees, they would say, something's wrong. The way this guy is jittery, he's unstable. You try to listen to the window. You're trying to ascertain what his roof say. And that's how it was. You see, I'm unaware of this. Then Friday, they are taken to Harare Central. She was saying, no. She was actually even Pataka Sungwa, she was also arrested. They want to ascertain was she involved in the you see. But when we gave our statements, she was released because they saw that our manager was, you see, the truth had come out. The following morning, this was Friday. These guys were caught on Thursday, taken to Harare Central police station for questioning. Then Friday morning they come. Guide is left. They become with the third accused, that's Farai. When I see Farai coming, the gate is opening, the car is coming, I see Farai with the cops, with the CID. Then I panic when it was what, So inside the house there was red poison. So I thought, the only thing, run, because I can't run, I'm surrounded. The cops are coming for me. Escape. Was what I thought. I run inside the house, take red poison, swallow it. The time they are coming, I'm too busy to go for it. So, wango the batters guns we are coming. Sansa, Godden. Chimotuza shwadi. Antu wana tuna Farai, tuna guide. Mota ta anayo. Chimota wana chukwa dizu vitre nyori. Nyaone sana no hysteric. You see. Saka but this time, I take the cops around the back, and then when I get to the place where I burned the body there, and upon reaching there, they are with me. I've got 5-6 cops wearing suits and all that. And I say, I don't. They look at the hip. They say, they had Zakadai. I tell them because of Pisa Mataya. They sing all the wires and everything. Then the first thing they look at each other. They say, goes the house and the main house. the relatives, friends, they are still thinking that she's missing, she's hidden somewhere.
Yeah.
But they are always, since mota ya wanikwa, wakufunga wataka wikwa somewhere. You see, she's been kidnapped. You see. Saka, by the time I tell them the truth, they're like, they look at each other and get, you see.
Who was saying that?
The cops amongst themselves, don't rush and tell them because they're thinking she's alive, she's been kidnapped. Saka, they don't know that. I'm now revealing the truth. So this is when the cops say, this time the poison is also taking you, the right poison is taking effect on me. So when this time they handcuff me. When I tell them the truth, they handcuff me and they hold me. But now I'm walking, going towards the main house. That's when I collapse, like I'm now forming. You see, it's like the only man I say to red poison. I remember saying red poison. Then they quickly call an ambulance. And what I remember being put in the ambulance, but how I got to the hospital, Parenyatwa, the only time I remember is waking up now surrounded by cops, side chained to a hospital bed. That's when they start exactly what happened, and from there I just tell them the truth. Ndakadai ndikauraya muromo ndikapisa ndikadai wangaonani nandiri ndega ndikazodai ndikazofona tora mota ndikapa vakatora kudai ndandakuti sandiwane manditize nandichitya.
So what happened to your two friends?
They were arrested, and this is now were taken to, after the wounded caution statement that I already sent to police, were taken to the Rotten Row for remand. That's remand in custody. That's for now. They said remand in custody. We applied to bail to High Court. The process. Actually, we did. We were sentenced. We were taken to Harare remand prison. We applied for bail and we denied bail by Justice Smith. Justice Black, he was a white judge. Actually, he lived in the same road as the deceased, and he denied us bail. And then also remand there. It's a time. It's a time of there was so much happening in remand. Remand. We were wearing khakis. We're in a cell. There's a time you no simbisana. I don't know what it's going to be okay. I don't know. You don't know what no. You see, remand. You see, simbisana. And
then obviously all of this goes to court. How long was the trial?
The trial was only 2 weeks. This was the following year. You see, I was incarcerated in June. That's 2000. June 2021. Sorry, June 2001. That's a year later. I was fast-tracked. I was fast-tracked. Our court case was fast-tracked. It only lasted for 2 weeks, and I remember on a Friday, this is when I was sentenced to death, and my court case was sentenced to 24 years, respectively.
The two of them?
Yeah, the two of them.
So you having a conversation with the lawyer, obviously.
Okay, we had state lawyers. Those
So what was the conversation with the state lawyer? Because you had admitted to killing this woman, yes?
Yeah, but not intentionally. You see, like we fought and we, you see, Takarwa. I didn't plan it. I didn't premeditate it. And under, you see, I wasn't in my right senses, my right mind, to be honest. Yeah. So what outcome were you hoping for? Maybe a lesser sentence than death. Maybe not even life, but that maybe 10 years or something.
Is that what the lawyer had said to you?
Yeah, he said, yeah, you get a less. That's how it. But that's what the lawyer was saying, and yeah, I thought maybe that was going to come. Yeah, and that didn't come. I was actually, our court room was changed to another court where on a Friday, and I knew, you've got, sometimes you have dreams and you just, to be honest, I had a dream whilst I was in prison, Harare Central, Harare remand, going to trial. There's a time I dreamed that just the day before going to the sentence we were now told the trial was finished and then what was left was the sentencing, you see. So I had a dream that I was going in a courtroom, and there were three lions sitting in the courtroom, and they were like, the two were brown and one was the judge was a white lion. When I entered that courtroom, it was like the lions' heads all went down like this. So I woke up in the middle of the night, and I knew that I was sweating, and I knew that tomorrow's outcome wasn't going to be very favorable. Yeah.
So at the point that the judge then said, "You've been sentenced to death,"
before that, they these ladies who come in and they like cry, wearing black and saying, they're not my relatives, I don't know them. I think it's a court procedure. And then when you're going to death row, that time, in the years later, that was not happening. But in our time when I went, that's in 2001, you see, there were white judges by that time. You see, that happened. And they came crying, and they say, and then they said, Sumuka, when I stood up, they cried in the court. I think it was just a procedure they do before they sentence you to death. And then the court guy, a clerk, he stands up wearing these police uniforms, like makaki in my box, and he raises his hand and says, hear me now, can the court keep quiet, or the death penalty is being passed? And I'm 21 years by that time, and I'm like, death penalty? And you see, it was. But this time, when I look back, I'm looking around the court, I'm being sentenced to death. I'm looking around. And yes, the deceased relatives were quite at a. But my brother, he was in court, he started crying. And I knew that everything started changing. Even they removed me, separated me from the co-accused mine, and they're putting leg irons on me. Chains, I was being changed, and I knew that, I panicked, and I fear. This is when I experienced total fear first in my life. Never have I experienced that kind of fear. It's like the courtroom was going round and round and round. I couldn't understand this change. I was now changed to maybe 3 stars, the prison officers, and I was totally separate from the others. And I was taken by myself in a motorcade. You see, because when you go to court that time, we'd go many from Ara. Those going to high court would go maybe in groups, maybe 7, 8, 12 other people going to the high court for bail, for trials, for chi. But this time, you see,
but before you do that, Judge Vakapasa sentence.
Yeah, Vakapasa sentence.
So Judge Vakatichi.
Judge Vakataurus Ganzi, this cry, you made it. Wapisa kuraya mkatora mota mkabati tora hembe netumari tumchando antrimo saka you premeditated this mutazotora mota nemari and made in the course of robbery attracts the death penalty. That's what he said. And we, according to section what in the statutes, that's what attracted the death penalty and then our sentence. You see, these guys don't get the death penalty because they did not do the actual killing, and vakazongo dzia moto anzi dzia moto embava something. That's what was still said.
So walk us through, at what point, if ever, did you become remorseful?
Yes, even in the trial I was remorseful, because when I was at remand I understood exactly I did something wicked and very bad, and something I had never done. You see, I was so I was very also remorseful in court, and I was sorry. And I even asked the time before sentencing to ask for forgiveness, and I did. I looked at the relatives and asked I'm sorry, and asked for forgiveness. And I don't know the reactions. How did they react? Did they accept it at that time? Or you see, I didn't know, but I asked, and I was also remorseful. And court, I was really sorry that I had taken a life. And even later on, when I was now at Harare Central Prison at the condemned section, later on when I received Christ as my personal savior later, I wrote a letter. Though I don't know if they get it, but you
didn't get a response?
I didn't get a response, and I wrote a letter and asked the prison authorities to take it there.
Did you ever try and reach out to the family once you came out of prison?
I've tried. I've tried with the rehabilitation officers, trying to do it first by myself. Or no, I'm saying let me work with the rehabilitation officers, maybe church people, and try to. Yeah, I'm trying.
So let's talk about life in prison.
Okay, I arrived at Harare Central Prison, chained, went through several doors, gates, and I was taken to the condemned section. And upon arrival there, when I entered that section, it's different now from remand. You see, these are now solitary confinements where you are now staying in your own cell, single cell. I call it a lunchbox because you can't stretch your hands. It's like 12 feet length and 5 feet width, and you can't really stretch your hands like this. And I'm now wearing red, from khakis to red. You see.
How many hours did you?
I'm going out only 1 hour per day. I'm staying 23 hours locked up, and in the night I'm naked. You see. All this was.
What do you mean you're naked?
You sleep without clothes. You got 5 blankets, a chamber, a 2-liter water bottle, and a Bible. That's all you got in that cell. Clothes they don't give you because they think that maybe you might try to tear up, to hang yourself, commit suicide, or try to escape, or things like that. That's the safety precautions there. So when I enter that cell, there are so many death row inmates. I'm the youngest. Even other death row inmates are saying, you are bringing us at you see, the likes of Chitumo, Masendeke, Chaukes, the hardcore criminals there. By that time, there's the what you call this from Gokwe, big boys, and you see all these. And
so I mean, did you have time to converse with these?
Yeah, when you do your exercises, by that 1 hour, we used to go in groups of 10s. You see, was about more than 50. So they'll take you about 10 or 12, and you go for your first exercise from 9 o'clock to 9:30. Then your other groups go as well, and then the second 30 minutes you'd go maybe from 12 to 12:30. So it's only 1 hour where you do your wash your chamber, clean your chamber, you fill your water bottle, you bath, and you do a bit of exercise, and you're back in. So 23 hours I'm locked up, and 1 hour. So this is when maybe you'd talk stories, converse, famba, doing exercises.
What sort of conversations were you having with them?
Well, you'd talk maybe, I don't know where you're from. Mostly we talk about what did you do? I did this. Me, I did this. You see, that's how it was like. And sometimes when you grow up, the things you did, those were most of the times.
So how much about your past does your wife know, and at what point did she know?
Okay, I didn't tell her immediately, but when our relationship progressed, I told her the truth, and she's a Christian. Well, she accepted it. She knows that no one is born perfect. We've all got our past mistakes. We've all got our small prisons sometimes we come from. Just mine was actually a physical one.
So what for you was the biggest change to life? I mean, you went into prison. I think it might have been before cell phones, around about time cell phones came onto the scene, right?
Yeah, they were just starting to come out by then, like the 5110s and all, but they were very expensive. I didn't get to watch one.
So technology had advanced.
Yeah, technology when I came out had advanced, and when I came out, it was like, it was a new world. It was new to me. Even other people, when my brother bought me Kambudzi, a small item, I couldn't even operate it. Even people next to me were trying to say, this I can't even operate a phone. Kambudzi, they were like, even kids were laughing at me by that time. So it was like, it was the touch screens, the WhatsApp, that's what's all the new stuff. Even the buildings, so much had changed. Yeah, it was quite tough. It's quite tough, really, coming from 21 years, coming to a new modern world, and even people to really appreciate you. It's not easy, and even technology and all that. It was very, very difficult to adjust to. Yeah.
So your son is is a year old.
Yeah, he's a year old now.
Are you at some point going to have a conversation with him about this?
Yeah, well, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I'm going to have to. He needs to. Yeah, definitely. I'm going to have to.
What are you going to say to him?
Pardon?
What are you going to say to him?
Well, I'm going to tell him that the choices I took led me to commit crime, and I committed a crime of this because of choices. I don't want him to end up also taking that path in his life. So I'll have to tell him the evilness of taking bad choices, where they can lead you, especially drugs. Yeah, I don't want him to take drugs. Definitely.
Now, as we wrap up, Gordon, there's this book, handpicked, the Gordon Matanga story.
Yes.
Miracle on Death Row.
Yeah.
Now, something interesting about Miracle on Death Row.
Yes.
Why Miracle on Death Row?
Yes. What's so fascinating is my life consists of two tales. The first tale is the one you have heard, the pathetic tale of my pathetic past. It talks of the first story, which is a very pathetic one you have heard. And then the second story now, hence this book has come, is the Miracle on Death Row, is when in 2003, I had so many questions. I wanted answers to know about salvation, forgiveness. Could God forgive a person like me with the nature of crime I had committed? There's a time when in prison, you read the only book they allow you is the Bible. You read the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. I didn't understand what I was reading. You see, I read it. There's a time my memory is about 2,000 verses in the Bible.
Wow.
By that time, that's the only book. What kept me sane was reading that Bible. You see, there's time in death row with other people, most inmates, about 25, died of anxiety, stress, mental suppressions. They died of that. What kept me sane was reading that Bible and the answers, the curiosity to know, could God forgive a person like me? Hence, and after coming from the exercises, in the bin there was a newspaper, the Sunday Mail, and there's an article. When I took it to read it, in the middle of the night, I opened it and I started reading, and there was a picture of a lady by the name of Dr. R.F. Utana. She was speaking of salvation, forgiveness, you see. So I was very curious to have these questions in my heart answered. That's when I asked. I'd never written a letter, but then, when you go to death row, relatives, they don't want to see you. People, you are not even counted as a person in your death row. Even censors, they don't count you on census. You are nothing. You are nobody. You see. So that's when I asked to write a letter, and then I wrote her a letter telling her who I was, where I was, the sentence and everything. And I just asked her that I want to know more about this salvation you're speaking of, this Jesus. Can I be forgiven considering what I did? Then later, she sent a secretary. Then later, about a year later, she came. Now,
so take me to. I mean, obviously there were two occasions that, two conversations potentially. The one obviously is where the judge is passing sentence, and you're going to die.
Yeah.
I mean, you were convinced. At what point did you hear that this death row sentence had been commuted, and how did you feel?
Okay, I heard this in 2012. I was just taken early in the morning. I thought they were coming they just opened my door and they said, you're under, but I was in charge. This was early in the morning, so I thought my time was up. I asked them, okay, is my time up? Am I going to be hanged now? They said, do you pray? I said, yes, let's go, we find out. I was put leg irons, took me to the officer in charge of the office. Upon arriving there, those women officers, men officers, and they were like smiling. So I thought, hey,
what were you feeling?
I was fear. I thought, I'm going now. I'm going to be angry. So fear. Though I wasn't fearful. I just thought, okay, I just want to pray. I was just praying in my heart. You see.
What were you praying?
I was just saying, Lord, I'm coming. That's what I was saying. Just accept me, Lord, I'm coming home. That's how it was. So when they got in, they were like smiling. I thought, oh, they're smiling for my death. They're like, then they said, sit down. So I sat down, and then they opened a drawer, took a file, and then they said, today is your lucky day. I thought, oh, you're not far. You see. Okay, then they opened the file and they said, okay, we've got some good news for you. My paper at Zoka, they came from the president's office and they said that your sentence has been commuted to life from death. I thought, I'm Satan. You see, I said, I'm Satan. Yeah, I thought, I knew because it was very rare from death to life. People being hanged by that time. So they said, take off his clothes, the red jumpsuit, take off the leg irons, remove him, fake his white. they put this white prison garb. That's when I knew that what's going on. And really, that's when I knew that they are speaking the truth. And I just knelt down, I started crying and just gave glory to God. And then they said, now, and then they said, today you won't sleep here, you sleep at Chikurubi Maximum Prison, where are the life in his house. Upon arriving at Chikurubi, it was also like amazement to so many people. That was the, people really want to see me and all. And
so how long were you in Chikurubi before you were actually released?
I was there for about 10 years. All in all, 21 years I spent in prison. The same thing happened in 2021. There was a general amnesty, and I was just called, and they said, you've been considered for the amnesty. And
the feeling then was it the same feeling that you had when you realized that you weren't going to be hanged?
Yeah, it was the same feeling. But even the feeling I had, just being alive, even if I'm alive in it, but was awesome. It was awesome. It was awesome. And even going out now, it was quite even worse. I was really exhilarated and very expectant.
So you come out of prison. Where did you go?
Okay, I was taken by post, an organization called which takes inmates who have served long sentences, especially like my case. They took me in. They were helping me reintegrate into society, both parents, relatives, and also teaching me some few things to. I spent about 2 years there. They taught me some farming skills and mostly poultry. As well as strawberries and mushrooms, but mostly poultry. So that's where I was, and they were helping me integrate with society from them.
Absolutely incredible story. Godden Matanga, thanks so much for coming onto the show and being a part of Man to Man.
Thank you very much.
And that's how we leave this conversation. Handpicked. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Godden Matanga, incredible story. You've been watching Man to Man. I'm your host, Hugo Batika. Look forward to the pleasure of your company at the very same time next week. Remember, we leave no man behind. Goodbye.